What's up, you guys? It's your boy Nate, and today we are going to be talking about Eminem. And when I say Eminem, I mean millennials and money. That's right. Today we are going to be talking about how millennials can master financial freedom and literacy and budgeting and personal finance, all with these small tips. Now, sure, a lot of millennials, they currently are in a state where they're just getting out of college, they're entering into their first big boy or big girl job, and they're still somewhat having some money issues. However, I do believe that these tips could really be helpful for the average millennial that are looking to save more, spend less, and ultimately master their personal finances. Now, before I begin, if you are new here, I personally welcome you to this YouTube channel. We talk about money, personal finance, investing, credit cards, you name it, anything money-wise. And I must say, if you do go to enjoy this video, please do smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. It helps out this channel very much, so I would truly appreciate it. And with that being said, you guys, let's get started with tip number one. So tip number one is pretty simple. It's easily just set a budget. Now, of course, this doesn't mean like everything needs to be tracked. However, there are apps that you can use like Personal Capital and Mint.com that you can use to track your spending, what you're spending, how much you're spending it on, and if you spent more the previous month, and how you can easily cut back when it comes to spending money. You really need to track all where your money is going. I would say at least once a day. Try to track to see how much you're spending every single day, because you never know. An unexpected subscription fund may have came out that day and you probably wouldn't have known. So it's really best to check and budget every single day to make sure that all your T's are crossed and all your I's are dotted. Now, the importance of setting a budget, it just simply means that you know exactly where all your money is going. You know exactly how much you're getting paid every single month or every single 2 weeks, and you know exactly where all that money is being allocated to. Now, I say when it comes to budgeting, the first thing that you would truly want to do is just take care of yourself. Always pay yourself first. Take care of your basic human needs. And that goes for anything that falls into that category, like rent, utilities, food, all basic human needs. Pay yourself first, especially when it comes to budgeting. Now, I know a lot of millennials, they set aside money for any type of debt repayment. A lot of millennials take out student loans every single year so that they can afford to go to school or pay for an extra semester that they might need. Of course, you only get about 6 months before you have to start paying all those loans back. So definitely setting a budget to advocate for your monthly payments for any type of your student loans will be best in your interest. Now, the remaining part of your money, especially when it comes to budgeting, could easily be used for fun money, like setting a budget for, eating out, movies, your subscriptions, your utilities. All that stuff counts. Now, when it comes to budgeting, always make sure you always don't extend how much you spend every single month. Always try to stick to your budget 100% of the time. Sure, I understand things happen and you might spend a little bit over, but don't try to make that a habit. That might work maybe only once or twice, but definitely hone in and always make sure that you stick to your budget. That's very important. Now, say you're just getting out of college and you pick up an $80,000 job or a $100,000 job. Still budget, and also because you're making so much amount of money, you don't want to fall into a victim of lifestyle inflation. Like the more money you make, the more you up your lifestyle. Change nothing, always live like you're poor. That's what all the millionaires are doing. Live beyond your means. Still live comfortably, but always live beyond your means. Don't get caught up in lifestyle inflation, the fantasizing of you making all the big bucks. That's easy how you can get in the hole and get into debt. That is very important to avoid any type of lifestyle inflation. So definitely number one here, always set your budget. So that way you can master your finances. You're telling your money what to do instead of your money telling you what you can do. And that leads to number two, especially what I mentioned early on in number one. And number two is pay yourself first. Now, Aaron Lurie once quoted, and it simply states, paying yourself first is the holy grail of personal finance advice. And Aaron is right. You should really start saving money and putting that money away your very first paycheck to already get a head start and a habit and mindset of what you really need to be doing personal finance wise with your personal finance. Always make sure you contribute money a little bit every single month for retirement. You also need to make sure that you put your money into an emergency fund or a savings account, or better yet, both. And at all times, you really need to make sure that you have at least 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses, just in case anything were to come up, like you lost your job or there's a family emergency, you need to fly home for a sec. Always make sure you have 3 to 6 months worth of expenses, as I explained before. And the thing is, you really don't even need to start off that big. You can start as little as putting $5 every paycheck towards your emergency fund. At least you would have started. It doesn't have to be the biggest amount, but always make sure you have something. You need to put in something when it comes to it. And more so, this is all about building a healthy habit when it comes to saving. But I would personally recommend always increase that amount by, I would say, about $5 whenever you get a pay increase. Because that simply means the more you make, the more you can put in. So yes, always pay yourself first. That's number 2. Now, number 3, I would personally recommend, which is always advised, is contribute to your employer's 401k. Now, the reason why I say that is because normally any to all companies always do employer matches, which means whatever you put into your 401k, your employer will match it depending on their terms and conditions. Now, that's free money. I would say if they do offer that, start immediately, because the sooner you start, the more money that you will have in your retirement account. But the more time you procrastinate, you're leaving a risk of thousands and thousands of dollars down the line, especially if you're planning on staying at your job long term. Now, a 401k is the preferred method to financial security when it comes to your retirement. Just by putting or matching the exact amount, or every little amount, depending on how much you make, towards your 401k with an employee matching it, that's really something that will pay off in the long run. Say you're 59 and a half, that could easily amount up to hundreds of thousands, tax-free, or perhaps even millions. So it's always best for you guys to start now while you have the job, while you have the employee match, because essentially that's free money. And who doesn't like free money? Now, number 4 on this list is do not accumulate any credit card debt. Now, sure, credit card is a great way to build up, credit. And especially coming out after college, it's a good way to just start. Like I started mine in college. I started building credit in college. So that way when I got out of college, I would have a good amount of credit built up so I could get my own place without a cosigner. There are some good benefits to having credit cards. Depending on what credit cards you get, there's definitely a lot of rewards that you can accumulate. You can get free flights, you can get free hotels, you can get free travels around the world, and at the same time, you're building credit. It's like a debit card, except you're just getting free stuff. But I definitely must warn you, please do not buy what you cannot afford. My motto is, if you can't buy it 3 times, you cannot afford it. Not only that, but once you get your credit card, if you decide to get one, do not pay the minimum balance. Try to pay all of it every single month, no questions asked. Sure, paying the minimum is okay, but you don't just want okay. You don't want just good credit. You want excellent credit. You want exceptional credit. So that's why I recommend do not just pay the minimum amount. Pay a little bit over, I would recommend. Now, I know some credit cards will offer special deals where you sign up with them, you get 12 months to 15 months of interest free. That means all you have to do is make sure you pay the credit card in full every single month. You will not accumulate any type of interest for the first 12 months or first 15 months. However, if you do have debt and it has exceeded the 12 or 15 month period, it will accumulate very, very high interest. And that is something you do not want to pay, because it can be as high on top of your regular monthly payment, an extra $20 or an extra, $50. And that's not something you want to pay on top of what you already owe. Not only that, but paying the minimum balance, it doesn't improve your credit score if it's already low. You truly need to pay the credit card bill on time in full every single month. That's the only way you can always avoid being in debt, building up your credit, and not being in the hole for having to owe anybody money, because that's no fun. Now, while we're on the subject of debt, let's get to number 5. Create a strategy to pay off any type of student loans. Now, there are plenty of effective ways to pay it down. The best bet is just to pay it off as soon as humanly possible. Now, depending on what type of job you have, that could be fairly easy. Depending on what type of program you get into, that could be fairly easy. Some programs actually offer, if you pay your student loans consistently with no missed payments, always meeting the payment requirement, they can forgive your loans after 10 years. Now, I know some people, they consolidate all their loans just to make one big payment, just in case that they take out any additional loans or more than one loans, depending on the borrower. So yes, there are ways to consolidate. There are certain loan forgiveness programs. So yes, I would always recommend pay down the minimum balance, especially as quickly as possible. And now, especially if you have a high interest rate on your loan, that's just ridiculous. So always pay down more than a minimum balance so that way you can attack the principal of the loan. You can easily sit down with your parents or a financial advisor to always make a strategy, make a plan to how you plan on paying off these loans. Because you're a millennial, you want to start living your life. You don't want to have to owe anybody. Especially, you want to start getting ahead in life when it comes to personal finance. Start buying homes, start saving money for vacation, start putting away money for emergency fund. All that stuff counts, and student loans, as long as you have them, are just holding you back. And if you are having any trouble, whether it becomes to credit card loans, student loans, any of the things that I mentioned early on, I bring you number 6, and that is ask for help. Now, transitioning life after college, especially as a millennial, can be very, very challenging. You're just getting out, you're getting your start in the world, you finally got your degree, you're trying to look for work that, will pay you back all the money you put into your institution, and you're just having trouble finding a job. That happens to millennials a lot. Now, it truly doesn't matter whether you're working a 9-to-5 in the corporate world or you're like me working for yourself as an entrepreneur. Any type of financialness after college can be very daunting because all your bills are in your name, all the debt is in your name. You have to figure out, is your credit good enough to get a place on your own? I know that all that stuff takes into account, which can be very daunting because money makes the world go round. Now, when I say ask for help, I truly mean always ask anybody you trust, whether it be your professor, your pastor, your friends, your family, an advisor. Take advantage of anybody you trust that knows what they're talking about when it comes to life after college, dealing with personal finance, making sure you can get ahead in the game, making sure you can stay out of debt. It's because they have all been there. They've all made that transition from college to after school life in certain means. There's also a bunch of stuff you can research. We have the internet. We have the knowledge. We just need to apply to it. And do not be afraid to ask for help. I had to ask for help. I know many people have had to ask for help. So it's really good in account to, if you need the help, ask for it because you do not want to make any type of mistakes, especially when it comes to dealing with your personal finance. Now, us as millennials, we truly need to master our personal finances, and I do believe that these tips can help. It's not the easiest talking about personal finance. It's not as mainstream as we think it is. Money can be a very touchy subject. We know where we're trying to go, but we all need the finances to get there. Sure, it can be challenging from somebody who doesn't work a 9-to-5 and they work for themselves as an entrepreneur, versus working a 9-to-5, you're making great money, but you're not happy at your job, or you're not making great money and you're making just about minimum wage. Because I know after a certain point, millennials do not want to be living with no roommate. They do not want to be having any more student loan debt. They do not want to have to be in any more credit card debt. So using these small tips can really help us advance to more of a financial freedom type of life. Because yes, we all eventually, we want to own our own home. We want to have possibly multiple cars in the driveway. We want to have 6 figures in the bank. We want to have money invested in the stock market. So take all that stuff into account. I know it's not easy. It's very daunting. A lot of stuff has changed for millennials. We are overall can be at a disadvantage. So I would say follow these steps. Keep your head straight, and always remember to smash the like button for the YouTube algorithm. So with that being said, you guys, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I really hope you guys enjoyed knowledge like this. I go up and look up for you guys. If you haven't done so already, please do. Hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell, and of course, hit the like button. As well as my social media handles are right down here. You guys can follow me on my journey, what I do for a living as a musician, because I am a musician full time. And yeah, with that being said, if there's nothing else, I will see you guys in the next video.